Good evening. More areas in Luzon are under tropical cyclone wind signal number 1 as Typhoon Marce slightly intensifies. According to Pag-asa's 5 p.m. bulletin on Tuesday, November 5, signal number 1 is raised over 14 areas in Luzon where minimal to minor impacts from strong winds are possible. The State Weather Bureau says the highest wind signal which may be hoisted during the occurrence of Marce is signal number 4. Cagayan may experience moderate to heavy rains due to Marce from Tuesday afternoon until Wednesday afternoon, November 6. Pag-asa last spotted Typhoon Marce center some 480 kilometers east of Etchague, Isabela around 4 p.m. on Tuesday. Marce carries maximum sustained winds of 130 kilometers per hour near the center and gustiness of up to 160 kilometers per hour as it moves northwestward at 25 kilometers per hour. Pag-asa forecasts Marce to reach peak intensity before making landfall over Babuyan Islands or the northern portion of mainland Cagayan on Thursday, November 7. Marce may exit the Philippine area of responsibility on Friday afternoon or evening, November 8. October's headline inflation accelerated due to higher prices in food, non-alcoholic beverages, and transport, according to the Philippine Statistics Authority. Preliminary data from the agency show that the consumer price index increased by 2.3% year-on-year in October, up from 1.9% in September. Inflation print in October marks the fastest growth in 2 months since the 3.3% logged in August. However, the current pace of inflation remains lower than the 4.9% recorded in October last year. According to the PSA, the uptrend in the overall inflation in October 2024 was primarily influenced by the faster annual increment in the heavily weighted food and non-alcoholic beverages. An official of the Department of Education admits to receiving envelopes containing 25,000 pesos reportedly from Vice President and former DepEd Chief Sara Duterte in 9 months last year. At the House of Representatives, a Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability probe on Tuesday, November 5, Panel Chair Joel Chua asks DepEd Accounting Division Chief Runa Catalan if she also received envelopes from former DepEd Assistant Secretary Sunshine Chari Fajarda. Catalan answers in the affirmative.
Aside from your allowance, from your regular budget, nakakatanggap po ba kayo ng envelope just like Yusek Mercado and Director Osias from ASEC Fajarda?
Yes, sir.
Magkakano?
Minimal amount lang po.
Which is how much po?
It's not even,
Magkano po?
it's 25,000.
Catalan also says she was supposedly made to understand that the allowance came from Duterte's personal money. Other DepEd officials, former DepEd Bids and Awards Committee Head Director Resty Osias, and the Education Undersecretary Gloria Humamil Mercado earlier admitted to getting the envelopes from Fajarda. In a previous hearing, Mercado revealed that she was assigned as head of the procuring entity of DepEd, signing checks related to funds, which at one point amounted to 37.5 million pesos. Similar to Catalan's claim, Mercado said she received envelopes with money which, according to Fajarda, came from Duterte. The House panel earlier Tuesday issued a subpoena against Fajarda and 6 others for their repeated absence in its probe into the alleged DepEd's misuse of government funds under Duterte's watch. Vice President Sara Duterte's Chief of Staff is now out of the country amid a House of Representatives probe into the budget utilization of the Office of the Vice President and Department of Education. During the House Committee Good Government and Public Accountability hearing on Tuesday, November 5, Committee Secretary Cheryl Lagrosas reports to lawmakers that OVP Chief of Staff Zuleika Lopez left the Philippines for Los Angeles on Monday night, November 4. Citing travel records, the committee secretary says 5 other OVP officials remain in the Philippines, namely Assistant Chief of Staff Lemuel Ortoño, Administrative and Financial Services Director Rosaline Sanchez, Chief Accountant Julieta Villa del Rey, former Education Assistant Secretary Sunshine Chari Fajarda and Special Disbursing Officer Edward Fajarda. Meanwhile, she adds that Special Disbursing Officer Gina Acosta's status remains unclear since her name is similar to multiple individuals. Earlier, the House panel urged the Department of Justice to issue a lookout bulletin against 7 OVP officials who have snubbed its hearings on the alleged misuse of OVP funds. Panel Chair Joel Chua emphasized the importance of the testimonies of the OVP officials in the committee's ongoing investigation. The House Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability is conducting a probe into alleged funds mismanagement of the OVP and the DepEd under Duterte's leadership. The House Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability is issuing another subpoena to 7 officials of the Office of the Vice President who were linked to the alleged misuse of government funds under Vice President Sara Duterte's watch. During the House panel's hearing on Tuesday, November 5, Abang Lingkod Party List Representative Joseph Stephen Paduano makes the motion to issue another subpoena to the 7 OVP officials, which Deputy Speaker David Suarez seconds. All 7 OVP officials who did not show up at the hearing on Tuesday will be issued a subpoena anew. One of the 7 officials, namely OVP Chief of Staff Zuleika Lopez, left the country for Los Angeles, California on a Monday evening, November 4. The panel is also issuing a subpoena to 2 more OVP officials, Budget Division Chief Edeline Rabago and Chief Administrative Officer Kelvin Jerome Tenido. Manila 6th District Representative Bienvenido Abante Jr. appeals to the officials to attend the hearing and answer their questions related to the OVP's alleged mismanagement of funds. Panel Chair Joel Chua warns the resource persons that a much heavier penalty awaits them if they opt to skip the ongoing probe.
The fact that all the other resource persons are present in today's hearing, bakit naman po sila naka-attend? Yung iba hindi maka-attend. We will just reissue another subpoena with the stern warning that the next time that they fail to attend, we will be constrained to issue a much heavier penalty.
Senator Bato Dela Rosa says the Senate providing certified true copies of the drug war hearing transcripts to the International Criminal Court would mean recognizing the International Court's jurisdiction over the country. In a press briefing on Tuesday, November 5, Dela Rosa says he will question the Senate leadership should it move to submit the drug war probe transcripts to the ICC. Dela Rosa reiterates that the ICC has no jurisdiction over the Philippines, citing the position of the executive branch. For Dela Rosa, government branches must follow a united stance regarding foreign policy, taking the cue from the President.
And our government is very consistent in declaring that ICC has no jurisdiction over us. So sana, although we are co-equal branch with co-equal branch of government with the executive, kung yun ang stand ng executive branch of government na hindi natin na-recognize, sana yung legislative branch also will also follow the same line.
The Philippines formally withdrew from the International Criminal Court on March 13, 2018 during former President Rodrigo Duterte's administration. Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin also reiterated on October 14 that the Philippines has no plans to rejoin the ICC. On October 28, the Senate Blue Ribbon Subcommittee began its probe into the previous administration's anti-drug campaign, which claimed thousands of lives. During the hearing, Duterte admitted he ordered police to provoke suspects to fight back so they could be killed. Dismissed Bamban Mayor Alice Go's camp argues she cannot be held liable for the notary issue on her counter-affidavit for the human trafficking case, as she was already outside the country when it was notarized. In a chance interview on Tuesday, November 5, Go's legal counsel Stephen David says they submitted a counter-affidavit seeking to dismiss the perjury and falsification charges against Go in a preliminary investigation hearing held at the Department of Justice in Manila. According to the vid, Go shouldn't be sued for falsification or perjury as she was not present when her counter-affidavit was notarized. When asked about Go's assistants admitting that she instructed them to have the document notarized, the vid says Go's order does not mean she personally committed the falsification. The vid also insists that the document was pre-signed by Go before she fled to Jakarta, Indonesia. He explains that the counter-affidavit should not have been notarized in the first place if Go herself was not present to sign the document in front of the lawyer or the notary public.
Yung depensa namin na hindi naman siya dapat makasuhan ng falsification. Una-una, wala naman siya dito eh. Anong participation niya doon sa notarization? Kasi ang kailangan dyan, act talaga na nag-falsify ka ng notarization. So wala akong nakikita falsification doon kasi siya naman ang pumuli. Ngayon, kung sino yung nag-notary, dapat yun ang tanong.
The case stemmed from Go's counter-affidavit, which was filed days after a qualified trafficking complaint was submitted against her for resolution on August 6. Go's counter-affidavit was signed on August 14 by lawyer Elmer Galicia, almost a month after the dismissed mayor left the Philippines in July. The National Bureau of Investigation then filed the complaints of perjury, falsification, and obstruction of justice against Go and Galicia, as well as 4 other individuals. These are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, X, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.